What's happening YouTube? PokePhD here. Quick one from me. Just wanted to discuss some of the ongoing latest news concerning the Japanese products and Japanese side of the Pokemon TCG. If you haven't seen, I made some recent videos just talking about what I think about the Japanese market, prices of things, whether things are worth looking at investing, and anything of the sort. Just, a variety of different videos. But one thing I did allude to a couple of times was the fact that as of right now, things are incredibly crazy. We're seeing stuff with Japan similar to what we saw with the English market a couple of years ago, where there's just not enough supply. The demand for product is absolutely insane. Just as there was a couple of years ago, and probably even still now, there were people in Japan just queuing outside of stores hoping to get product day of release. Things obviously just being incredibly crazy. And as I said, funny thing is, we saw this a couple of years ago during COVID period where Pokemon were already struggling to get product out, and of course Pokemon boomed to a crazy extent. So it's interesting to see that, of course, this has happened in Japan a couple of years later, and that they didn't have it as bad as they did as we did during COVID. And of course there are various reasons for that, but before kind of going on too much of a tangent, I just want to get straight into the kind of discussion point for this video. So as you can see, I'm on the E4 forum, and you can see the title here. We've got the Pokemon Company issues formal apology for shortage of Japanese card products. So the message itself states, so it's regarding the status of response to shortage of Pokemon card game. So thank you for your continued patronage. We are currently out of stock of all Pokemon card game products. We sincerely apologize for the inconvenience caused to customers who were able to purchase, were unable to purchase even. So given top priority delivering desired products, blah, 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 blah. We will continue to strengthen, we'll continue to do our best so that everyone can enjoy the Pokemon card game. So kind of to cut a long story short, they're basically apologizing for the fact that there just isn't enough product going around and people are having to do crazy things. Either you're just not able to get it, you have to pay insane amounts to get it, or you're queuing outside a store, the previous night, the night before release. First things first, they have actually identified, or not identified, but spoken concerning the issue. They obviously would have received a lot of criticism over the previous probably couple of months where it's really ramped up an insane amount. But the fact that they've actually come out and made a statement is itself a good thing. But we know from Pokemon generally they are I wouldn't say, like, I don't think any company is necessarily like consumer first in the sense that they really believe that at the end of the day the main thing is making money, right? And that's fair enough. Their businesses, they're out here to make money, but it does seem like, and it always has seemed like, the Pokemon Company really do care about their consumers, and I think that's a nice middle ground for most businesses, making the money whilst also doing what consumers want. But beyond that, what does this mean going forward? I did, as I mentioned, speak about this previously, and I said the best way Pokemon can really deal with this product that this problem that they've got on their hands is to just print more product. And if you're aware of how they do things in Japan, they don't often print, as much to demand and beyond as they do with the English side of the company. So they usually print first batch. It's not too great. They kind of see how well that sells, how well that does, and then during reprint, for example, they will print a lot more depending on how well the product to begin with, and then beyond that you don't get too many more reprints of that said product. So generally the Japanese side of the company is a bit more conservative in the number of products that they release, and that's not a terrible thing. First things first, it just kind of stops too much product just being left over on the shelves and not getting purchased, sat there, bottoming and plummeting the price generally. But again, of course, we do really need to see a balance, and because Pokemon have done, at least in Japan, have done this the same way for a long time, when we've just got like a complete crazy exponential increase in demand, they really do have to adapt to it, because they can't just continue what they're doing and what they have been doing for the longest time. So again, like, they've come out, they've recognized that it's been an issue, And I'm hoping the fact that they have recognized the issue means that they are going to turn on the printers, buy more printers potentially, because it looks like they're just not printing enough, or they don't have the capacity to print enough, similar to what the English side of the company did a couple of years ago. So if you aren't aware, we saw a similar thing here where, COVID shut down a lot of the factories. There just wasn't enough product going around. The demand was insane, especially with all the Logan Paul kind of craze and hype that Pokemon picked up around the COVID period. And then what did Pokemon do? Eventually they came out and said the same thing, like, we are aware people aren't getting the product that they want. Prices for booster boxes coming out the door were stupidly expensive. They were coming out like at actual MSRP, so like 120, 130, 140. And there was a point where Vivid Voltage booster boxes were like $200. Same with some similar sets around that time period. But basically what they did was they bought bigger factories, they bought more printing machines. However they managed to do it, they basically increased their capacity to print product. And what did this mean in the short term? It meant Battle Styles and Chilling Reign, where they overproduced and overprinted, but I think they were kind of just figuring things out in terms of being able to meet demand but not exceed it too much, like they did with Battle Styles. And it's funny, around about that time we were getting the news of them purchasing more printers, and they were going to print more product, and they were going to meet this crazy demand. And then obviously the consequence for that were the next few sets were just overprinted. And because of that, they have suffered, at least in terms of price, to this day. Thankfully, that's obviously changing, which is good. It just shows how much demand there is in Pokemon, which is great to see. But generally, the Japanese side of the company are a lot smarter with how they do things. So I'm hoping that I'm sure this might be an issue if they are like willing to fully correct this lack of supply. That one thing that they could do is just kind of meet somewhere in the middle where they are printing more product, but maybe it's still not enough, but it does push some prices down. We've already seen with this announcement a few of the more expensive products, the newer Japanese releases have come down in price, which is nice. For example, I believe the Iono Special Art Rare came down a good chunk, like a few $100 following this announcement, in anticipation that they're going to be printing more of the newer sets. So here's to just keeping an eye out and seeing what's happening. But I think certainly good news in that for those, myself included, who finding it a bit of a struggle to get hold of Japanese product, newer sealed product for a decent price, that's hopefully going to change, and hopefully change quite quickly. And using what happened with the English side of the company, they're able to kind of tune that a little bit more, be a bit smarter, and in ensuring that they don't go too far because of how much they print. But like you've seen now, maybe the last few sets Pokemon that have come out, like your Silver Tempest, your Lost Origins, maybe not Crown Zenith as much because it's a ridiculously in-demand set. Even like your Astral Radiance, although maybe too much on the other side, but like those two sets, for example, outside of Evolving Skies, of course, they did reasonably well. The boxes were about $100, $110 on release. They've kind of creeped up a little bit, but fluctuated a little bit back and forth, but the supply seems to be pretty steady. And here's hoping that Pokemon Japan can achieve that balance pretty well. What do you make of everything going on? Are you yourself a big Japanese Pokemon collector, and you're just hoping that they just print a ridiculous amount of product and it really pushes this price down, and then you can get you and I can get our greedy mitts all over that product? Yeah, now let's hopefully wait and see, and hopefully we get some more news soon. Maybe they do something crazy and we find out that that's going to contribute towards how much of the product that they will be printing moving forward. But other than that, that's all from me. If you did enjoy the video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're not already. And thank you for checking out the video, and hopefully I'll catch you on the next one.